I took Vivian's place and married into the city's most powerful dynasty. My groom was Jordan, the heir whose blood runs blue and whose heart is rumored to run ice cold. At the altar he never cracked a smile, he didn't even bother to look at me. When the priest asked if he took this woman, his glacial face never flickered. I do. But at the exact same moment a completely different voice detonated inside my skull. God, wife smells amazing, want to kiss her. How much longer till the wedding night part? I'm dying here. My name is Zoe. I'm the stand-in foisted on Jordan when Vivian bolted. A counterfeit bride for the sterling crown prince. The church glittered, silk, diamonds, crystal, champagne. None of it belonged to me. I stood beside Jordan like a lifeless doll, pinned beneath glances that pitted or sneered. Everyone was waiting for the punchline, watching the pathetic understudy get frozen out by the city's coldest titan. Jordan truly was cold. From processional to recessional he hadn't spoken a syllable to me, hadn't offered even a sideways glance. His crisp cedar scent carried a front of winter air that left a whole galaxy between us. The priest intoned, Casey, wilt thou take this woman to be thy lawfully wedded wife, to have and to hold? I stared at my bouquet, knuckles white, bracing for the inevitable, emotionless. I do. 3 syllables, as warm as a marble slab. I shut my eyes and surrender. Then a jittery, exhilarated current zipped straight into my brain. Wife smells incredible, want to kiss her. Why isn't it the wedding night scene yet? I'm going insane. My spine locked, I thought I'd hallucinated. Wife's lashes are so long, little feather fans. Is she upset? It's my fault. I shouldn't play iceberg, what if she flees? No, can't break character. Gotta stay icy so the surprise hits harder. Me. Slowly I lifted my gaze and collided with Jordan's jet black eyes. His expression was still polar, sharp enough to frost glass, yet the voice kept cascade spamming my head. She looked at me. Finally. A wife's eyes, like lakes holding galaxies. I'm drowning. I glanced at his stern, perfectly carved face, then back at the X-rated monologue in my skull. The absurd dissonance snapped the last thread of my composure. I laughed. Guests froze, even Jordan's iceberg mask cracked. He frowned slightly, probing, a flicker of panic. Why is she laughing? Did I blow my cover? Her smile, spring cherry blossoms exploding straight into my heart. Pull it together, Jordan. I bit my lip to smother the giggles while the priest proclaimed us man and wife and told us to exchange rings. His fingers were icy. The instant they brushed my skin I heard a sharp inhale inside his head. So soft, wife's hand is so soft. Want to hold it forever. Head down, shoulders shaking, I finally understood the legend of Gap Mo. This man who outside was a walking glacier indoors turned out to be a babbling, lovesick teenager. The receiving line proved it. Guest after guest lifted champagne flutes, Jordan answered in monosyllables, or a flashing keep back. A guy his age, clearly a friend, grinned and teased, Lucian, you landed a goddess. Zoe, right? Name's Chase. If this guy ever bullies you, tattle and I'll deck him. Jordan sliced him with one arctic glare. You bored? Chase rubbed his nose, muttering, inside my brain, fireworks, deck me? Touch one hair of my wife and I'll break your legs. And sister-in-law? Get that familiarity away from her. I almost snorted champagne. Next came a woman in champagne silk, eyes glued to Jordan, voice sticky sweet, Lucian, congrats. So this is Sterling? Cute, natural look. I'm Brittany, Lucian's little protege. The insult and envy oozed out of her like spilled perfume. Before I could react, Jordan's face darkened. Natural? You wouldn't know elegance if it bit you. Wife is natural jade, the real deal. And protege? Please, I mentored you for 1 semester. Also, stop calling me by my first name, get lost. I lifted my glass, smile polite, Sam, thanks for the concern, but Jordan and I have it covered. Instant standing ovation in my skull, that's my girl. Roast her. My wife's tongue is as sharp as her smile. My grin widened. Maybe this forced marriage wasn't going to be the nightmare I'd braced for. Hours later the ballroom finally released us. Jordan laced our fingers, his idea, have to hold wife or she'll be abducted, and walked me to the penthouse suite. Floor-to-ceiling glass framed a carpet of city lights. Inside, roses, candles, and champagne waited like a movie set. The moment the door clicked shut he reverted to Ice President. He yanked off his tie, dropped it on the sofa, and strode to the bathroom. Shower first. Bang, the door shut. I stood alone in the living room cathedral, clutching my small purse, not sure whether to laugh or hide. If the echo of those frantic mental confessions weren't still ricocheting in my skull, I'd swear he hated me. 10 minutes later, steam preceded him out. A towel rolled low on his hips, water slid over the ridges of a stomach that belonged in a Men's Health spread. He passed me without a glance, sat down, snapped open the Wall Street Journal, and pretended to read. Why isn't she moving? Is she shy? Should I make the first move? No, might scare her. What if she thinks I'm crude? She looked over. Did she see the abs? I pumped iron for months for this exact second. Why hasn't she pounced? Is this year's model of wife broken? I drew a slow breath. Time to test the limits. I inched over and lowered myself into the armchair beside him. I picked up a copy of Taylor, flipped a page, and faked fascination. His newspaper rattled. She's close, so close. I can smell her perfume, lilies and summer rain. Is she dropping hints? She's reading Taylor. Does she want retail therapy? I'll clear out Bergdorf's. Say something, you idiot. I'm exploding. Silence stretched, broken only by the whisper of turning pages, and the mental scream that threatened to light my brain on fire. I cleared my throat and asked as casually as I could, Jordan, tonight are we? Sleep in separate rooms, he cut in at once, voice like ice. I froze. Wrong line, you idiot. Why did I say separate rooms? I want to cuddle wife. What do I do? What do I do? Words spilled or water spilled, can I still take it back? Got it. He folded the Wall Street Journal, stood, and looked at me with zero expression. You take the master suite. I'll use the guest room. Then he turned and walked away. I stared at his retreating back, about to say something, when a thunderous yell erupted in my head. Ow! And I watched, wide-eyed, as the 6'2" CEO staged a fall right on the flat carpet. He lay there motionless, the tips of his ears crimson enough to drip blood. So embarrassing. Did she notice the fake trip? Whatever, I've got a twisted ankle, mandatory bed sharing with wife tonight. I couldn't hold it in, I laughed out loud. Smothering the giggle, I went over and helped him up. You okay? How'd you manage that? Jordan leaned on me, one foot oddly arched, handsome face tight, ears growing redder by the second. Twisted ankle, he gritted out, a faint grievance in his tone. Wife touched me. Her hand on my arm, so soft. Genius move, now I can sleep beside her legitimately. I struggled him to the bed, sat him down, then crouched and pretended to check his ankle. Don't touch. He yanked his foot back like I'd burned him. She's going to feel my foot. Too intense, I'll lose control, but I want her to touch it. Watching the civil war in his head, I felt half exasperated, half entertained. How will we know it's serious if I don't look? What if it's broken? I put on a stern face. He hesitated, then slowly stretched his leg out. I wrapped my fingers around his ankle and hadn't done a thing when a hell blasted through my skull. Done for, total surrender incoming. Suppressing a grin, I pressed lightly twice. Nothing broken, just swollen. Stay off it tonight, sleep here. A muffled grunt from his throat, assent. Yes, mission accomplished. I stood to head for the bathroom, but he seized my wrist. His palm was scalding, grip surprisingly strong. I turned. His fathomless eyes churned with emotions I couldn't read, layered and searing. Zoe, he said, first time he'd used my full name. Yeah, you. He faltered, Adam's apple bobbing. Don't you want to ask me anything? Ask me. Ask why I married you. Just ask, and I'll tell you, I've liked you for years. Ever since that rainy afternoon at the Langham 3 years ago, I knew it had to be you. My heart lurched. Langham, 3 years ago? I rifled through my memory and found only a blurred image, a sudden shower, ducking into a private gallery to stay dry. So he had. Why did you? I began, meeting his gaze, ready to play along. My iPhone rang. Vivian. I frowned and answered. Zoe. Vivian's voice carried its usual condescension. Settling in at the Sterling estate? Don't forget, everything you have now is thanks to me. Put in a good word with Jordan so he doesn't stay mad about the jilting. Before I could speak, Jordan's icy laugh echoed in my skull. Thanks to you? If you hadn't schemed, Zoe would have been my fiancée long ago. And you want me not mad? I'd rather you vanished from the planet. An idea sparked. I spoke into the phone, deliberately pitiful. I get it, sis. But Jordan doesn't seem to like me. He just said we'd sleep in separate rooms. A beat of silence, then Vivian snorted. Your own fault. A stand-in expecting real affection? Beside me, frost swept the room, Jordan's fury thick enough to freeze. Vivian, keep digging your grave. Sis, I have to go, Jordan's waiting. I hung up, tired of her venom. The air pressure plummeted. Jordan sat on the bed, face dark enough to drip storms, colder than he'd been at the altar. She let Vivian bully her all these years. My fault. If I'd found her sooner, she'd never have suffered. The Sterling family will pay. His inner monologue had dropped the comic panic, turning glacial with rage and heartache. My own heart softened without warning. Jordan, I whispered, stepping close. I'm fine. He lifted his head, whirlpools of anger, guilt, and something heartbreakingly vulnerable swirled in his black eyes. Sorry, he rasped, out loud, not in his head. I blinked. I should have told you. I married you because I love you, not some ridiculous contract. I was scared I'd frighten you, scared you'd think I had ulterior motives, but I can't fake it any longer. He rose abruptly and pulled me into a crushing embrace. It caught me off guard, his chest hard, burning, thrumming with strength. His heartbeat hammered against my ear. Zoe, he murmured, voice trembling, I like you. I've liked you for so long. Since that rainy day 3 years ago, my world has held only you. Pressed to him, hearing the sincerity blazing in both speech and thought, my own heart raced. So I wasn't the replacement. I was the one he'd wanted from the start. All the humiliation, mockery, and fear of the past days found an outlet in the sudden heat behind my eyes. You. I started, but he released me and stepped back, instantly the gentleman again. Sorry, I lost control. He turned his face away, ears flaming. I hugged her, actually hugged her. She's so soft, smells so good, don't want to let go. Was that too forward? Is she mad? Why isn't she saying anything? Looking at his conflicted, innocent panic, I burst out laughing. Jordan, I said, walking up to him, rising on tiptoe, and pressing a soft kiss to his cool, thin lips. Your confession, received. Jordan turned to stone. Inside my head, fireworks detonated and a stadium of screaming groundhogs took over. Iowa. Wife kissed me. She kissed me. Am I dreaming? Dear God, I'm going to faint from happiness. The next morning we came downstairs for breakfast together. When Charles the butler saw us walking side by side, a satisfied smile creased his face. The table was spread with every possible breakfast, Chinese, Western, the works. Jordan still wore his usual iceberg expression, slicing his eggs over easy with surgical grace. But I knew the cyclone whirling inside him. Wife's wearing a white dress today, so pretty, like a little fairy. She likes hargao dumplings, mental note, tell the kitchen to make them daily. She looks adorable drinking whole milk, there's a dot on her lip, I want to lick it off. Ugh, gross, Jordan, you animal. I quietly lifted a napkin and dabbed my mouth, pretending I'd heard nothing. Halfway through the meal my iPhone rang. Mom, Zoe, today is the return to family visit. When are you and Jordan coming? Vivian's been feeling awful since dawn and keeps asking for you. Vivian again. Before I could answer, Jordan set his knife and fork down and looked at me. You're not going back into that lion's den? What's the green tea drama queen plotting now? No, I'll go with wife. I'm not letting her face it alone. I got the message. Into the phone I said evenly, Mom, we'll leave after breakfast. When I hung up, Jordan's questioning gaze met mine. Some debts need settling, I said. He studied me a moment, then nodded. I'm coming. Anyone who bullies my wife will watch their whole family go down in flames. An hour later our car eased to a stop in front of the Sterling estate. Mom, Dad, and Vivian were already waiting on the steps. The moment Jordan appeared, bright, ingratiating smiles snapped on. Oh, Jordan, welcome, welcome, come in, Mom gushed, hurrying forward. Vivian, pale as rice paper, leaned against Dad, eyes brimming with injury and resentment, as if I'd stolen her crown. Zoe, she whispered, you're back. Before I could respond, Jordan stepped in front of me, shielding me with his body, his stare glacial. Keep acting, all of you. The Oscars owe you each a statue. Today they'll learn, my wife is off limits. Warmth flooded me as I looked at the broad back blocking their view. Today promised front row seats to a first-class takedown. Inside the living room Mom bossed the maids around, plying us with tea and pastries, her hospitality dialed up to cringe. Vivian drooped on the sofa, hand over her heart, ever seconds from swooning. Zoe, Dad cleared his throat, look at Vivian. Ever since you took her place at the altar she's been distraught, her health is shot. You're sterling now, don't forget your roots, don't forget who gave you the good life. The words sounded caring, but the hammer underneath was clear, remember your place. I lifted my teacup, blew across the rim, and said nothing. Jordan sat beside me, arctic silence rolling off him, yet inside my skull he was holding a press conference. Roots? My wife's only root is me, what do you have to do with it? You forced her, now you want credit? Vivian's upset? She should choke on it and save me the trouble. When I stayed quiet, Vivian's eyes reddened and tears slid down. Zoe, I know you blame me. But Tyler and we're in love. I can't live without him. Making you marry Jordan was my only choice. Tyler, her college boyfriend, regular kid from nowhere. Last lifetime she ditched Jordan for him. When Sterling later crashed, Tyler dumped her first. True love? Jordan's cold laugh cracked the silence. He pulled a stack of photos from his pocket and tossed them on the coffee table. They showed Tyler wrapped around a rich heiress, entering clubs, shopping, sun-drenched yachts. That's your true love? Swearing eternity to you while he spends your $100,000 on Starlight Group's princess? His voice stayed low, but each syllable was a blade twisting in Vivian's chest. All color drained from her face, she snatched the photos, shaking her head like a broken maraca. No, impossible. These are fake. You forged them. Forged? Jordan sneered. Date stamp, the night before our wedding. He used your $1 million to buy her a Herm bag. Morgan, your heart comes cheap, idiot. Helping the guy who sold you out. Still, dogs chewing dogs, entertaining. I watched the unfolding train wreck, secretly delighted. Jordan had investigated everything. This was no family visit, it was a public execution of Vivian's guilt trip. She collapsed, clutching the photos, bawling like the world had ended. Mom and Dad's faces curdled, they'd planned to guilt me, but Jordan had tossed their cards in the fire. Jordan, Dad tried to salvage dignity, this is our Avery. Avery? Jordan cut in, gaze razor sharp. The instant you coerced Zoe into the ceremony it stopped being your Avery. He stood, pulled me up beside him, and laced his fingers through mine. I'm here for 2 reasons. First, Zoe is my wife, a sterling now. If any of you ever make her bleed a single tear, I'll bury you without blinking. Second, he paused, sweeping his stare across every sterling in the room. The betrothal my grandfather made was because he admired old Sterling's paintings and pledged to prop up his company. The contract named only one bride, Zoe. From his inside jacket pocket he produced a yellowed marriage agreement and unfolded it. Black ink, unmistakable, Jordan and Zoe. I froze. How could it be my name? Mom, Dad, Vivian, slack-jawed statues. No, no. Vivian shrieked. That contract was mine. Really? Jordan's smile could frost glass. Did you decide that, or did your parents lie to you? His eyes pinned my parents, and under that gaze their careful masks began to crack. My mother's lips trembled for a long moment, not a single word coming out. My father's face was the color of ash, as if he'd aged 10 years in an instant. These 2 old foxes, willing to twist the facts just to climb into the Sterling fold, pinned Zoe's marriage contract on Vivian. Because Vivian had always known how to curry favor better than Zoe, how to bring them more profit. As for Zoe's feelings, they never cared. Jordan's inner voice ripped the bloody truth open in front of me. So I had been the legitimate fiancé all along, and Vivian had been nothing more than an interloper from start to finish. All of them had ganged up to deceive me. They let me believe I was the cuckoo in the nest, let me walk into the Sterling family weighed down by guilt and dread. How ridiculous. I stared at the people I once thought were family and felt nothing but nausea. As of today, Jordan said, voice glacial and final, every collaboration between Sterling and Sterling ends. As for the marriage fraud, my lawyers will be in touch. With that, he took my hand and walked out of that suffocating house without a backward glance. Back in the car, I was still reeling from the shock. Jordan started the engine in silence, saying nothing, only squeezing my hand tighter. She must feel awful. To be betrayed by the people closest to you, it has to hurt. It's my fault. I should have told her the truth sooner. His thoughts overflowed with self-reproach and heartache. I turned to study the perfect line of his profile and asked softly, when did you find out? Early on, he said, eyes on the road, voice low. The moment I knew I was to marry into Sterling, I investigated. I wanted to know exactly who I was getting. And then I saw the marriage contract. I saw your photograph. He paused, the tips of his ears reddening. The one from the Langham 3 years ago, the rainy day exhibit. So it all traced back to that afternoon. So you always knew Sterling wanted Vivian to marry you? Yes. Why didn't you expose them? I asked, bewildered. Jordan was quiet a moment before answering slowly, because I was afraid. Afraid that if I tore the mask off, they'd lash out and refuse to let you marry me at all. I was terrified they'd hide you away where I'd never find you. The only option was to go along with their scheme, bring you home first, keep you under my wing. Zoe, to have you, I can be ruthless too. Listening to this domineering yet tender confession, my heart swelled, aching, full. This man had endured Sterling's calculations in silence, even willing to wear the label of the duped groom, just to make me his. Jordan, I sniffed, voice choked, you're such a fool. He braked hard and pulled to the curb, unbuckled, and leaned in, cupping my face with a gravity I'd never seen in him. What if I am a fool, so long as it's for you? This time, his gaze and his thoughts were perfectly synchronized, hot, sincere, overflowing with love. I lost all control and kissed him first. Outside the window, the sun was flawless. Inside the car, time turned gentle. With the Sterling matter settled, Jordan and I slipped into a sweetness so intense it felt surreal. Outwardly he remained the same aloof, abstinent titan. Inside my head, though, his mental commentary grew wilder by the day. For instance, when I had an extra bowl of porridge at breakfast, wife's appetite is amazing. Keep eating, get nice and soft, more fun to hold. Or when I teared up over a tragic film, who greenlit this garbage? Making my wife cry, I'm buying the studio and banning every sad script. And when I kicked off the quilt at night, wife sleeps like a little octopus, so cute. Her foot just brushed me, how am I supposed to sleep now? Every day I ricocheted between laughing and melting. Jordan, too, grew used to my initiative. At first a single kiss from me could petrify him while fireworks detonated inside his skull. Later he'd quietly redden, steal a calm breath, and kiss me back. Our relationship ignited under that strange, wonderful rhythm. This particular day was a weekend. Chase had organized a welcome party at his private club to formally present me to their circle. I slipped into a red velvet gown Jordan had chosen, cream-white skin glowing against the deep fabric. Just before we left he swallowed, Adam's apple bobbing. Damn it, I might lose control tonight. Wife looks like a blooming red rose. I want to lock her away where no one can see her. I looped my arm through his with a smile. Come on, Ellis, any later and we'll be rude. He inhaled sharply and nodded. Inside the club the party was already roaring. The instant Chase spotted us he bounded over. Well, if it isn't the hero of the hour. Zoe, you have no idea. Taming the glacier here makes you a legend among us brothers. I smiled. Hey, Chase. Jordan shot him an icy sidelong glare. Shut up and stay away from my wife. We were shown to the main sofa, instantly becoming the center of gravity. Most of the guests were friendly, curious. There's always a buzz of static, though. So that's Zoe? Doesn't look like anything special. Word is Sterling meant to give him Vivian, Zoe's just the understudy. Shoo, look at Ellis's face, keep your voice down. I sipped my fruit juice, pretending not to hear. Inside my head Jordan had already cursed the gossips into oblivion. Then an uninvited guest appeared, Brittany, the woman who'd confronted me at the wedding. Tonight she'd outdressed even me, elaborate makeup, designer gown, wine glass in hand, heading straight for us. Jordan, she cooed, ignoring me, long time no see. A toast to you. He didn't bother lifting his lashes. Where did this fly come from? Buzz off. Brittany's smile froze, but she recovered in a heartbeat, shifting her gaze to me with disdain. Morgan, don't tell me you can't hold your liquor? Sipping juice at a party, how very provincial. She was picking a fight again. Before I could answer, Chase stepped in with a laugh. Britt, you've had a few too many. Zoe doesn't hold her liquor well, juice was my idea. Chase, stop shielding her, Brittany pressed on. Once you marry into the Sterling family and become Jordan's wife, you'll have to socialize, she said, thrusting a glass of red wine toward me. If you can't even hold your liquor, you'll embarrass him. Jordan finally reacted. He lifted his eyes, the gaze as sharp as an ice pick. My wife needs you to teach her how to behave. Get lost. One more syllable and I'll make sure you never work this town again. Brittany shuddered under that stare, the glass wobbling in her hand. Still unwilling to surrender, she clenched her teeth. Jordan, I just think you deserve better. A man like you, how can you marry a woman who'll only hold you back? Hold me back? I couldn't help laughing. I set down my juice, rose, and looked her straight in the eye. Sam, I'm curious, in your opinion, what kind of woman wouldn't drag Jordan down? Someone like you, banking on a modest family fortune while judging everyone in sight? Or someone like you who, fully aware the man is married, still throws herself at him? My voice was low, but it carried to every corner of the room. Brittany's face flushed an ugly purple. You're talking nonsense. You know whether I'm talking nonsense or not. I lifted the very glass she had offered and swirled the wine. As for the drink, it's not that I can't, I simply refuse to share one with your sort. I tilted my wrist. The entire glass of red cascaded onto her expensive white gown. Ah! Brittany shrieked. Dead silence fell. Every guest froze at my abrupt move. In Jordan's mind the instant I threw the wine, only two characters rang out. Badass, my wife, so damned hot. Then he stood, slipped off his tuxedo jacket, draped it over my shoulders, and pulled me into the circle of his arms, shielding me while he stared coldly at the dripping Brittany. Get out. His voice carried zero warmth. Brittany fled in tears. Chase hurried forward to liven things up, and soon the party was buzzing again. Jordan didn't loosen his hold. He bent to my ear. Hands cold? You okay? I shouldn't have brought you. These idiots have no eyes. I shook my head, snuggling closer. Not cold. With you here, I'm fearless. His body tensed, and a satisfied sigh echoed in my mind. Good. From now on, I'll always be here. After that night I became legend among East Coast socialites. No one dared call me a stand-in to my face or whisper criticisms within earshot. Jordan and I only grew closer, except for one frustration: the man's self-control was ironclad. We were legally wed, sharing a bed, yet every night he behaved like a perfect gentleman. Kisses, cuddles, nothing beyond. Meanwhile his mental commentary ran an entirely different channel. Wife's waist, so tiny, legs for miles. Hold it together, Jordan. Don't scare her. We haven't even had a real date or gone to the movies, can't rush this. I was equal parts amused and exasperated. What century did he think we were in? Rowan, I decided, time to attack. That evening I slid into a silk slip nightgown. Instead of heading to the study as usual, I stretched across the bed in what I hoped was an enticing pose. When Jordan finished his paperwork and stepped inside, he froze. His mind went blank, even the subtitles jammed. After several seconds one trembling line floated up. Did I walk into the wrong room? I crooked a finger. Jordan, come here. He approached like a robot on a programmed path. He avoided my eyes. Aren't you cold? Help, someone rescue me. HP dropping to 0. I sat up, caught his tie, and tugged until he leaned over me. Our breaths mingled, inches apart. Jordan, I said, enunciating each word, how long are you planning to wait? His Adam's apple bobbed, Rawant Ward with restraint in his gaze. I'm afraid. Of what? That you're not ready. His voice was hoarse. That I'm not good enough, that you don't truly love me, that this is all a dream that'll shatter if I touch it. So every ounce of his control came from deep insecurity. This formidable, indomitable man loved me so cautiously my heart felt squeezed. Jordan, I whispered against his lips, I'm ready. I was ready the moment I chose to marry you. This time he didn't pull away. He took over, answering with a deep, searing kiss that promised everything. The temperature in the room spiked. Just as he settled above me, poised to cross the final boundary, a thought struck. I pressed a palm to his chest and asked, Jordan, is this your first time? He stiffened, cheeks scarlet. How could she tell? Seeing his shock and innocence, I smiled in complete relief. The night was destined to be a long, sleepless one. Thanks for listening to today's story. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate it? If you enjoyed this video, please like and share it with friends. We look forward to reading your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe for more amazing stories. See you next time.